Hi everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, where things are improving for us. They're improving a lot. We're trying to prove that the gunshots were inconsistent with the testimonies, and so far we're doing an okay job. So here we go. But do you have any proof that it was fired before midnight? Do you have proof that the witness didn't just think he heard something? Indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, there's no turning back now. Do you have evidence that proves there was a gunshot before midnight? Do you have evidence that proves Mr. Butts wasn't just hearing things? Okay, so we're going to have to prove it. Some of you guys left a comment on the last video saying about this photo here and how I was saying it wasn't relevant. I didn't mean that it wasn't relevant in total because of the time. I was just saying that I think the time was a little bit early for it to be relevant on the previous point, and that the 3 shots thing was more relevant at that point. However, this is probably a good time, I would think, to present this as evidence because the photo shows an empty lake at 11:50, right? So, if that is the case, then something made the camera go off at 11:50 because we know that the camera only goes off here automatically when a loud noise is detected. So something made that go off. This one was taken at 12:15 where we see the gunshots, but he definitely wasn't hearing things because this would suggest that there was a loud bang, which made the photo be taken by the camera. So let's just see if we've got anything else before we do that. Yeah, I don't think we have. So I think it might well be this photo here. Look at this photograph. This was taken by our witness yesterday, Miss Lotta Hart, with her automatic camera. The timestamp on the photo reads December the 24th, 11:50 PM. Oh yeah? But there's nothing on the lake in this picture. Your Honour, the real issue here is not why nothing is shown in this photograph, it is why this photograph exists at all. What do you mean? Your Honour, this photograph was taken by an automatic camera. That camera was set to go off in response to loud noises. Aha! Correct. There was a loud noise on the lake at 11:50 PM. That is why this photograph was taken. In other words, there was a gunshot at the time that Larry claims. Or a noise like a gunshot. Order! Order! That would make sense on the evidence we've seen so far. ... However, this leaves me wondering exactly what did happen that night on the lake. Exactly. If this is true, there were 2 sets of gunshots separated by 25 minutes. One at 11:50 and another at 15 minutes after midnight. Why, I ask you, why? Oh, I better think of something quick. ... Wait a second. Gunshots separated by 25 minutes. Ah! What's wrong, Nick? I have it. I have it. Huh? Remember the case with the Steel Samurai? Huh? Yeah, of course I remember. The murderer in this case had the same idea as the murderer in that case. What do you mean? Maya. Yes. If we don't figure this out now, we'll never overturn Edgeworth's guilty verdict. I've got a hunch and I'm going to run with it. Right, I mean, is this safe? Safe. We've already gotten a guilty verdict. We have nothing to lose. True. ... You just watch and let me know if I say anything that sounds fishy, okay? Right, Nick. Your Honour. Yes, Mr. Wright. The testimony just now has cleared up this entire case. What do you mean, Mr. Wright? So, you've finally realised the truth. There can be no other murderer here than Miles Edgeworth himself. Wrong, Von Karma. A man was shot that night, but it wasn't Edgeworth who did the shooting. Listen, rookie. Take a deep breath and consider the facts. At the time of the murder, 1 boat was on that lake. This was shown by the witness's photograph. The defendant, Edgeworth, and the victim, Robert Hammond, were on that boat. There was a gunshot fired on that boat and Robert Hammond fell into the lake. The distance of the shooting was 1 metre. It couldn't have been suicide. Well, the guilty party has to be the other man on that boat. I admit, it is hard to imagine any other possibility. Yes, but this assumes that the victim was shot at 15 minutes after midnight. ... What do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? We have photographic evidence of the time of the shooting. The time stamp on the photo says 12:15, but Larry heard a gunshot 25 minutes before that. Robert Hammond was killed then, 25 minutes before the shot on the lake. That's the only way that Edgeworth could be innocent. ... Mr. Wright, are you quite mad? Explain who the two men on the boat are. The murderer and Hammond, Edgeworth and the murderer, and Edgeworth and Hammond. Well, I mean, assuming that Hammond died on the first gunshot 25 minutes before, it's not going to be the murderer and Hammond because Hammond's dead. It could be Edgeworth and the murderer, and it's not going to be Edgeworth and Hammond, so it's got to be Edgeworth and the murderer, right? We don't know the identities, so possible. Maybe Edgeworth shot the murderer. Of course, it was Edgeworth and the murderer. After the murderer killed Robert Hammond at 11:50, he assumed the guise of Mr. Hammond and met Edgeworth. What? Are you serious? Yes, Edgeworth won't tell us why he went to the lake that night. However, I have a hunch. That night, Robert Hammond called Edgeworth to the lake. Now, Edgeworth didn't know Robert Hammond's face that well. That's why he didn't suspect anything when the murderer took Hammond's place. ... I'm not sure what to make of all this. Ludicrous! Mr. Wright, tell us the name of the murderer then. Okay. The murderer's name? Right, it's... Oh, Miles Edgeworth, Lotta Hart, or we don't know. I mean, why would we say Edgeworth, other than for comedy value, but we're going to lose health, so I'm not going to do that. I mean, Lotta, I don't think it's Lotta. I mean, theoretically it's possible, but I don't think so. So do we go I don't know? Because we haven't really pieced together anything, or gathered any evidence as far as I can tell. Have a quick look. I don't think we've got anything that points to who the murderer could actually be. No, I don't think we have. So I think we're going to say I don't know, honestly. Actually, I don't know the murderer's name. You don't know? Bah! Again, you waste my time. I don't know because he never told us. The murderer is the caretaker of the boat shop, that old man. At 11:50, he was the one who killed Robert Hammond. The caretaker of the boat shop? Where did he do this? There weren't any boats on the lake then. Why would he have to go all the way out onto the lake just to shoot someone? May I suggest that the real scene of this crime was not on a boat? What? Well then, where did the murder take place? Probably his shop, right? Show the judge where the murder really took place. Okay, so we're going to have to... Oh, I hate this thing. This mechanic is not the best, I'll be honest. So, I mean, if it wasn't... If it wasn't on the boat or on the lake, I'm assuming it was here. And that maybe the parrot was trying to tell us something. Should we do the boat shop? I think we probably do, right? I don't see where else it would be. Here, of course, the boat shop where he lives. That way he can meet with the victim without anyone seeing. Here we go. Do you have proof that the boat shop was the scene of the crime? Recall Larry's testimony, if you will. That's just cool, this little graphic. That night, he was out on the lake in a boat searching for something. He finds it and returns the boat, I should say. Then, just as he's starting to head for home, he hears a gunshot. He heard a gunshot, Your Honour, even though he was wearing headphones at the time. In other words, the gunshot was very, very close by, good point. And where would that be if he had just returned a boat? The boat shop. Mr. Wright, what happened that night on Gourd Lake? Please tell the court from the beginning. Okay. Yes, Your Honour. Nick, are you sure about this? Not really. But I think if I start at the very beginning, and I take it slow, I might just be able to figure this out. That night, the caretaker of the boat shop called Robert Hammond to his shop. This was around 11:50. That was when the gunshot that Larry heard was fired. After that, the caretaker put on Robert Hammond's coat. He became Robert Hammond. Then he got in the boat with Edgeworth and went out into the middle of the lake. Then who fired the pistol on the boat, Mr. Wright? Miles Edgeworth or the boat caretaker? Well, it wasn't Edgeworth, I don't think, was it? So it must have been him. Of course, it was the murderer who shot the pistol. He shot twice. Both missed Edgeworth on purpose. Wait a minute. Yes? Why would he shoot twice if he didn't mean to hit anyone? I'm guessing just so it would, like, cover up his crime, right? Details. Know this, Mr. Wright. The moment you run out of explanations is the moment you lose. Tell us why the murderer had to fire twice. Because the first shot missed, and to create a witness. To create a witness, surely. I believe he shot twice to create a witness, Your Honour. Create a witness? The murderer lifts his pistol and fires one shot. That ensures that anyone who heard the shot would look at the lake. Indeed, Miss Hart did exactly that after hearing the first gunshot. Next, the murderer waits a bit and he fires again. Then, the murderer jumps from the boat himself, to make it look like he'd been killed, but obviously then he didn't, leaving the pistol in the boat behind him. I see. To someone looking from the edge of the lake, it would appear that one of the men on the boat had shot the other, exactly. The murderer didn't know about the automatic camera, of course. That's why he shot twice, to draw attention to the boat. Once you realise that, everything else falls into place. The boat shop caretaker swam back to his shop. Then he put Mr. Hammond's wet coat back on the body, and threw the body into the lake. This is what happened, Your Honour. These are the events that transpired that night on Gourd Lake. I mean, it makes sense. ... Bailiff, bring out the witness from before. The boat shop caretaker, quickly. Ooh. Very well. While we're waiting for the caretaker, I would like to ask the defendant, Miles Edgeworth, a few questions. Mr. Edgeworth, please take the stand. Mr. Edgeworth, you heard what the defence has said? Yes. Well, why did you go to the lake that night? ... What Wright has said was mostly correct. Astonishingly so, actually. Yes. Several days ago I received a letter. The letter was signed Robert Hammond. He asked me to come to the boat shop by the lake at midnight on Christmas Eve. He said he had something very important to discuss with me. Something important? ... I'm sorry, I can't say what it was. Your Honour, sir? Bailiff, we are conducting a trial here. I ask that you remain quiet. The witness has disappeared. He isn't at the boat shop either. Oh, of course. What? What should I do? Find him, quickly. We cannot allow him to get away. He's escaped. Fantastic. Oh dear. Wow. Mr. Von Karma, your witness has disappeared. ... A search warrant has already been issued. It goes without saying that I cannot declare a verdict under these circumstances. I will extend the trial until tomorrow, the final day allowed. I request that the police department utilise all its forces to find that witness. Am I understood? ... One more thing. Just who is that boat shop caretaker? I think his identity has become very important to this trial. I want him, and I want to know who he is. ... Very well. Court is adjourned. Nice. Okay, so... we are stretching over into the next day then, I guess. Yay, Nick, you did it! Yeah. Well, at least he got out from under that guilty verdict. And what about Larry? That was something else. Even Von Karma didn't know what to do with his testimony. Larry really helped us out. Sure, once I sifted through his unique testimony. Still, he did save us. I just wish our cases weren't so down to the wire all the time. I know what you mean. Sometimes I feel like it's on us. It's us on trial instead of our clients. Hey, Edgeworth. ... Mr. Edgeworth? Did you say something? Don't look so pained. I mean, it looks like you're probably going to get off the hook. You could try to smile a little. Relax. ... I'm sorry, but I fear it's not over for me yet. What do you mean? Right. There's something that's been troubling me for a long time now. And I don't know whether or not to tell you. Edgeworth? No, there's so little time left. I want to tell you, to get it off my chest, but... I can't make up my mind. ... What is this about, Edgeworth? It's a nightmare I've had. A memory of a crime that I committed. A crime you committed? A memory of a murder. Oh, is this going to be something to do with his dad? To be continued. Alright then guys, well that is where we will leave it. And we will carry on with the next day, I suppose. So as always, thank you very much for watching. A big thank you to my patrons, Arcades Games, Wayne, Nate, Paul from the Phantom Fellows, Lyle, Hobo, Numinous, Kumadim, Paulio, Flossie the Sheep, JohnCon555, Chrissy, Paul James, and Zolties, and I'll see you next time.